Hello. Now we have our little guy jogging in the bottom corner of our screen, and that looks great and wonderful. But let's add some controls so we can use the arrow keys to move our little person around. First off, if we want to move him around, what we're going to need to do is make variables for these two values. So let's just call them player X. Let's have that 100, and player Y is at 500. And I have explained this before, so I'm going to um, try to be quicker about it so you don't have to listen to the same thing twice. Um, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put player X and player Y. For now, here we have to do it on each of these because they're each part that's splitting the character. Oops, mouse is going crazy here. Player X, player Y. Now I'm going to want to change them with a player velocity. And so I'm going to have it player X velocity, and we're going to start it off at 0, player X or Y velocity, start that off at 0. Now, to move him, what we have to do is we have to say is if event that type is equal to pygame dot key down. So that's if you're pressing a key down on your keyboard. Then we're going to check to see if the event dot key is going to be pygame dot k underscore, and let's do to the right first. So if we press the right arrow key, we're going to have something happen. And what I'm going to have is I'm going to have the player X velocity switch to like 5. So that means it's going to move 5 pixels to the right each time. And then if we, oh, I can't talk and type. If we are going to the left, the player X velocity is going to be -5. All right, so that works fine and dandy. But each time we do this, we want to update what's happening. So we're going to have the player X value is going to be equal to player X plus player X velocity. So what's going to happen is each time you go through this, every time I modify it, it's going to change the player X position, and then it should move the character in that direction. Let's see if I forgot something. Oh, if I press to the right, it goes to the right. If I press to the left, it goes to the left forever. Now that's looking pretty good. If you've watched my previous videos, you'll see that there's something missing here. Uh, or if you're just used to playing video games, you'll notice that we don't want to, uh, we want to do something, when we lift up the button, we want the character to stop. So if event type is pygame.keyUp, uh, and now we're going to do the same thing that we did before, but we're going to change the velocity to 0. So if event key equals pygame.k, right? Um, the x velocity, oops, gonna set that to 0. And if the event.key we're going to also set it to 0. So that means when we lift up, we shouldn't be adding to the velocity or adding to the direction. So now it looks like he's running. And now when I press to the right, he's running. But if I lift up the key, he's not running. And now he's moving back and forth. All right, there's some things we'll change to make this a little bit better on our next video, but that's good for now.